So hello everyone watching and listening. Today I have the absolute pleasure of speaking to Paivi Rasanenu, who among many other things and titles is a wife, a mother, a grandmother, correct? And
Yes.
A physician by profession,
Yes.
a politician. You've been a member of parliament and Minister of the Interior of Finland between 2011 and 2015, correct?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
quite a resume. If this was a job interview, I'd say you're hired.
Thank you.
But among many other things, obviously, why we're also having this conversation and reason why we've actually got acquainted and met each other is some crazy set of circumstances that it's difficult to even believe in modern democracy that we all think that we believe in, which is freedom of speech and the way you have been exercising this freedom. So could you tell me about this notorious and famous tweet of yours and how were the circumstances that led to it? And just briefly, the situation for the viewers in Latvia and our followers here, the NGOs, even the politicians, so they could understand what is this crazy mess that you are into right now. So please.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And as you mentioned, I have been 28 years in Parliament and in public life, but the 4 last years they have been surprising. I could never have believed to be in that situation in Finland. And the whole process started 4 years ago in 2019 when the major church, the Evangelical Lutheran Church, made a decision to support the Helsinki Pride event. And I'm a member of that church. And I was disappointed. And I asked in a Twitter update the leadership of my church that how they could sponsor this Pride parade and thereby holding something as pride that the Bible refers to sin and shame. And I attached a picture of verses from the book of Romans from the Bible. The Apostle Paul teaches about same-sex relationships. Yes, some citizen made a criminal complaint about this and police started to investigate it. And after that, when it came into public, there were several other criminal complaints made. For example, the old pamphlet I had written already 2004, which is entitled Male and Female, He Created Them, about sexuality and marriage in Christian perspective. And then there was a radio program also that police started to investigate. And I have to say that the situation was really absurd because as a result, I faced a total of 13 hours of police interrogations several times over my religious views. And from officers whom I used to have the responsibility of leading in my previous capacity as Minister of the Interior in Finland. There was a joke in social media telling that Paivi Rasanenu is once again going to have a Bible study on the police station. Really, we had the Bible on the table and police was asking me religious questions. What is the message of the book of Romans? What is about its first chapter? Could you explain the concept of sin and so on? And then also Bishop Juhana Pohjola was charged alongside me for publishing my pamphlets for his church congregation nearly 2 decades ago. And in Finland, the charges fall under the section of Finnish Criminal Code titled War Crimes and Crimes Against Humanity, and they carry a potential maximum sentence of 2 years in prison. Also, in my case, the prosecution asks that my publications be censored and that I pay thousands of euros in fines, which is the maximum fine that our law allows. And then the prosecutor, after these police investigations, which in fact led that the police said after the investigations that they didn't find any crime. They didn't think that my pamphlet was agitating against minorities, which is the law. But the prosecutor demanded the continuing of the process and filed up charges. And last year, we had 2 days of trials in Helsinki District Court. And in March last year, 2022, all my charges were fully acquitted, and the court didn't find any crime in my writings. But however, the state authorities, the prosecutor, appealed this unanimous ruling and dragged me back to court. And I was at the Helsinki Court of Appeal last week, again 2 days. And so during this trial, the prosecutor kept asking me, for example, that why I had not updated my pamphlet. Of course, I agree that a 20 years old pamphlet, it is a product of its time, but it shouldn't be censored because the biblical teachings of marriage and sexuality, they are still relevant and should remain publicly available. And yes, so this is the process now, and now I'm waiting for the result of the appellate court in 3 months.
Okay. So 3 months still ahead of you to wait for some sort of proceedings and results on a matter that really sounds insane. I'm going to use this word. When I first heard of this was the fact that you approached this matter in the beginning not with loud claim as if this is how it is, but you tweeted a question, and this exploded. Yeah, you just asked a question, which is a very basically diplomatic way of starting a conversation, isn't it? Recently on our social media, we had a post saying that recently during your trial, you were asked to deny your faith. Is that true?
Yes, I would say though, so that the prosecutor asked very religious questions, so that also in Finland, this process has been called in our secular media the Bible trial, or the Bible on the trial. And the prosecutor argued that my conviction could be summarized as love the sinner but hate the sin. And she said that this kind of doctrine, that you love the sinner but hate the sin, it is insulting in itself. She thought that it is a criminal thought. And she said that Paivi Rasanenu, you are allowed to think in your mind whatever, but you are not allowed to express it outwards. And then she also, what was the most disturbing and most difficult and hard for me, and also painful, was that she argued in public, also in press releases about the charges, that I had said something that I hadn't. So she had false statements about my writings. For example, she argued that I had said that God has not even created LGBT people, or that I keep themselves inferior to other people. I have never said anything like that, and it would be against my Christian conviction to think so or to say so. And even the district court, it found that, and it said clearly that they didn't find these statements in my writings. But the prosecutor still insists that she said clearly in the appellate court that it doesn't matter whether these statements are true or not, but whether the interpretation of these writings is insulting. And she wanted to give an, as she said, objective interpretation of these Christian doctrines. So it was a very straight and clear attack against the Bible. She said that she can't accuse the writer of the Bible, but she can accuse me of agreeing with these writings.
How do you respond to those who argue that your views on topics, like same-sex marriage, are discriminatory or harmful to these certain groups?
I have always emphasized, also in my pamphlet and in that radio debate, what is also on stake, and also in court, I have said, and in police interrogations, I have said that in my conviction and in the Bible, all people are created in the image of God. All people are equal. We have exactly the same value. But we all are also sinners. We are on the same line before God. But the human value is always absolute, regardless of person's traits. And I said that it is God. If we believe in God, it is God who says that what is sin and what is not, because the sin is a theological concept. It is something between God and man. It doesn't make us inferior to one another. So if I read Bible, I find also myself a sinner. It is in some way insulting also against me. Because
Bible it is said, isn't it? It is said that Bible is actually a pretty insulting book in general.
Yes, because God is holy and I am a sinner. So I found it that it insults me. But yes, but this is the Christian message that that's why Jesus has died on the cross, because we are sinners. We are evil in front of God, and we are on the same line. So this is my answer to these people. But I understand that nowadays many people are so alienated from Christianity that they do not understand the core message of the Bible. So perhaps this
And this is a great chance for you to be vocal as well, as you mentioned in the beginning of this conversation, that you're the whole court Bible trial. So yeah, you see, through this whole experience, the good news can spread out, and you can be preaching to the police officers. And I guess I would ask you if you've had the same experience. Indeed, when we read the Bible, obviously what happens is we see our sin and we see ourselves, and the moment when we present it further, the reaction is well, twofold. Either I accept that I need to change to comply with that highest standard, or what you're dealing with, what sounds like with people whose conviction is that the standard needs to be changed. I don't need to change. We need to change the standard, and also I need to change you so you would obey me. Is that something that you would find as well?
Yes, absolutely. And if we think about the standard of the Bible, I would say that what has been painful, it is the accusation that my speak is hate speech, or that it arises from hatred, because it is not true. I think that these teachings, for example, what Apostle Paul has taught in the book of Romans, they arise from love, not hate. And God would like to save all people, to have their sins forgiven. And this is a good message. This is the gospel message for all people. And I have to say that I have even felt that this whole process has been my calling. It has been also a privilege to me, because it has opened up so many chances, so many possibilities to testify about the gospel, the good news of the Bible and Jesus, in front of the court, to the police. And also we have had live broadcasts to Finnish homes from courthouse. And I have got many messages, even thousands of messages of Finnish people who have told that during this process they have started to read Bible and to pray, and also there are some gay people who have told that they have found Jesus to their life.
That's great news. Yeah, so you've initiated many good things with this as well, and that is great. And I'm very happy to hear about also the support that you're getting from your society. And from that, I would also like to ask you this question: like, what do you recommend society to do when a court allows a restriction on freedom of belief, so that it doesn't become the norm in the courts and in the society? To go with the silent or active approach?
Yes, I would recommend that now it is a time to defend these important freedoms. We have in our constitution, of course, as in other European countries, also the freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and also we have these international treaties of human rights and freedom of speech and religion. But now it is the time to use them, because the more we are silent, the narrower becomes the space for these freedoms. And I'm sad that these kinds of judicial processes against me, they also work as a warning sign to other people for example, to young Christians, that what can happen to you if you speak freely, if you express your conviction. And I have got also messages from, for example, young people studying in Helsinki University, that they are afraid to speak about their faith because they are afraid of being socially labeled as hate speakers or so on. So this
and it is a real problem, isn't it? It's a real problem,
yes,
isn't it?
it is, and that's why I'm not worried about myself or about fines or even jails. I'm afraid of this silencing effect of this process and the possible conviction, which means bans or censorings to writings, and even the Bible. Because the police who investigated my case, he said in the beginning of the process, he said that if my book would be banned, then also the Bibles should be banned. And if I would be convicted, it starts a time of persecution of Christians. And then, of course, not only Christians, because freedom of speech and freedom of religion, it is important for everyone. I have got also support from atheists, from gay people who can say that they disagree with me. They don't share the same views as me, but they defend my freedom to express myself. And I think that now it is time really to defend these important constitutional freedoms in all European countries. This is not only about Finland, because in Finland also we have long roots of Christianity, and we have a good reputation in freedom of speech. But if something like that can happen in Finland, it can happen anywhere, in any country.
Exactly. This is what I was also going to ask you. Like, so you see this having a sort of a snowball effect potentially. So if you lose in your case, then it will affect everyone, and it sounds like in every realm. I like the way you mentioned that you're also being supported in terms of this freedom of speech, also by atheists and also homosexual people and different groups who do not necessarily agree with your views. But is that because they also feel threatened potentially?
Yes, and there has been a lot of international attention also to this case, especially from European countries, but also from, for example, United States or Australia and some other countries. And I think that the reason for this attention is that if I would be convicted in higher courts, it would be a very important precedent for other similar cases, and it would have ramifications also to other European countries, because we have similar kind of legislations also in other European countries. In Finland, we have the law about agitation against minorities, and we have similar laws in other European countries. And the LGBT advocates, they have very tight cross-border networks, and I'm sure that they would use this case in other countries also if I would be convicted. And that's why I'm grateful and I'm happy that I got so clear victory from the Helsinki District Court. It would have been sufficient for me, but the good point of continuing this process to the higher levels of justice is that if we could get the acquittals from the appellate court or even from Supreme Court, it would make a very strong legal guide for possible similar cases in Finland and also in Europe, other European countries which have similar legislations in their countries.
Absolutely, we do have similar foundations, at least in law. Latvia has always looked at Scandinavia, including Finland, as an example for economic growth, for lifestyle, for even interior design. I would dare to say that this is not something that we should look at as an example to strive for what you're going through. But we are an NGO. We are a pro-life organization that supports everything connected to pro-life, family, traditional values, biblical values. What would be your suggestion? What tools could you give us with your experience to fight this battle more effectively?
Yes, I think that if I think the Finnish society and our NGOs and our civil society, a true problem is that many of the conservative-minded people are silent, whereas the advocacy groups of sexual minorities are very aggressive. They are very well organized and also very well financed, and they have very strongly affected the development of the church, the media, and enterprises and people's minds. So we must speak up, and we must actively pursue to have an impact on the society. And I'm so happy that during this case, when this started, in Finland, there was founded a new association, the Association for Freedom of Speech and Religion, and it is fighting for these freedoms, especially for Christians, because we have also similar kind of cases in Finland, not in court, but there is a lot of cancel culture, socially labeling some people, and we need to support each other. We need to encourage each other and help each other. So I think that the NGOs have very important role in our civil societies in this respect.
Yeah, that's a great advice. Thank you. Sharing something about what's going on in Latvia right now is that, as I said, we are thankfully quite far behind on many things, among which we're currently experiencing like a constant push for Istanbul Convention, for women's rights and protection against violence, women's protection against violence, sort of. It's a document that's being presented as such, although there are underlying rocks which implement immediately LGBTQ ideology and laws. Also legalization of civil unions, which is a step before allowing any type of marriages, also gay marriages. And gender ideology that's being implemented in our educational system. So what would you say to our colleagues in the Latvian, to your colleagues in the Latvian Parliament regarding such matters? What would be your message to them?
Yes, I would only pray for you and encourage to fight, because quite often many people think that, for example, if I think the process has as it has continued in Finland, 20 years ago we had the legislation about the partnership law of same-sex couples. And just then, 2002 or 2003, I wrote this pamphlet, which is now in court. And I then said in our parliament that if we now accept this step, it doesn't stop there, even though many parliamentarians said that this is they accept this if it doesn't go further, if it doesn't reach to same-sex marriage. But we have seen that the process goes on step by step, and so that's why I think that it is important also to not to believe. It is important not to believe the lies that they tell, because when we were there 20 years ago, we were told that this has nothing to do with the church. You can believe as you will. You can still believe as Christians as you like. And now I'm in court. Now I am in court with my convictions. So they are lies. They are really lies when they say that this, if you accept this, we do not go further. This is enough.
So just believing isn't enough. You need to stand up and work out what you believe in. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
I believe that's also what the Bible says. So amen to that. What are your personal challenges? Like what's the most significant that you've experienced or found out about yourself during this whole process? What has it brought out in you?
First and most, I would say that I have felt all the time that this has been in God's hands. So I'm grateful that I have all the time had a feeling that this is my calling to fight for freedom of speech and freedom of faith, and also these biblical everlasting values. But of course, this has also been quite hard time. It has taken a lot of my time. I'm also, as you mentioned, I'm mother of 5 children. I'm grandmother of 10 children, and in fact 2 more are coming. And I'm a parliamentarian, so there is also a lot of else in my life, and this court process has taken a lot of my time. And and what has been the most difficult side in this process, they have been the false accusations, the lies about my statements, because they have been in the press releases of the prosecutor general, and also in foreign media abroad. They have told these accusations that I had said something that I have never said. For example, there were news in many countries by Reuters that I had said that God has not created homosexual people, and I feel this insulting against me. But then I have been so grateful for all support that I have got from Finland and from abroad. I want to mention ADF International, Alliance Defending freedom of speech and religion international, and its legal support. It has been very important for my case, and I have felt that God has answered these prayers, what thousands and thousands of people have been praying. So in fact, I have felt this process some kind of privilege and honor to defend these foundational rights and everlasting biblical values in this time that we are living. So, and of course, I still want to say that what has been very, very important for me is that I have had so strong support from my husband and from my adult children. They are encouraging me and praying for me and saying that stay strong and so on. So it
That's amazing.
wonderful.
Yeah, that's wonderful and amazing. Thank you, Paivi. Thank you for mentioning again all the things that you're doing currently. It is amazing. I pray that you find time for everything, that God gives you wisdom and everything. Really, really an honor, Paivi. Let's keep in touch. We are also among those who are looking at this whole situation, how is it developing, and you're an inspiration. How you're holding up, how you're keeping your ground.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you and to discuss with you. And God bless you. You have very important work to do in your organization.